It's Powerback time on the Gutsy Podcast, your 20-minute boost to reclaim and refocus your energy. Get ready to have bursts of clarity, a boost of confidence, and the practical steps you need to make gutsy moves forward. You've got big things to do, so let's get your power back. I've got a little challenge for you today. I want to hear your big, wild, audacious goal or idea that you can't stop thinking about. Not the filtered one, not the logical one, not the one that you've been pursuing because you feel like you should. I'm talking about the idea or goal that you have a secret Pinterest board for. The one you find yourself smiling about when no one's around. The one that feels electric inside of you. You don't need to know the how in this moment, okay? We don't need to get down into the weeds of the details. I just want to hear your heart talk for a second. In today's Powerback episode, we are playing in the space of what if. What if you actually went for it? What if you actually claimed it? Look, it's only wild and audacious until it's your regular life. And for that to even be a possibility, we've got to own what that thing is in the first place. If you've been feeling a little rumble saying, you know what, I think I'm ready for this next thing, then buckle up because this episode is for you. Let's start by first talking about that rumble. Okay, we're not going to glaze over that because there's something really important about noticing when you start feeling that sensation bubble up. It's that it probably feels different for you than it does for me, right? Like it's all our own unique experience, but it's just this like, I don't know, this kind of unsettling, but also exciting kind of bubbling, this tingle inside of you, this pull. Sometimes it's disruptive, but in an exciting way. Do you know what I mean? Like it you can just tell that you're right on the edge of needing to make a change. And sometimes it's the want to make a change, but I think more often it's the need to make a change. And the need is stemmed in you're ready. You've put in the work, you've gained the knowledge, you have the experience, you have completed a chapter. You have what you need to take this next step forward. And where a lot of the disarray or the confusion or the frustration or, just kind of feeling like a bag of turds comes from is when we ignore that for too long. When you're feeling that rumble, you're getting that bubbling up sensation and you keep dismissing it. That's when the work that you're doing feels annoying, right? Like that's when you're doing stuff in a routine and you're like, I'm just caught in a trap and I'm not getting to where I know that I should be or want to be. I find that usually when we're getting into that space is because we're ignoring that rumble. We're ignoring that sensation that's saying, hey, I think it's time. And that time very quickly gets associated then with, I have to have it all figured out. I need the plan. I need the money. I need to know all the details. I need more research. I need to take another class. I need another book, right? Like that side of the brain kicks in and is like, okay, well, to justify this rumble, I need to gather more things. And in some cases that may be true. Okay. I'm not knocking continuing education. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do some research. Okay. That's part of the growth of anything that we do. But what I'm saying is we also have to know and have our own discernment to say, you know what, I've done enough. I am enough. And I'm just going to make a decision that I'm going to do this. I talk a lot about indecision and that wavering back and forth and 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it's very hard to dedicate your time, your money, your energy, your resources, anything towards the thing that you really want when you're not fully acknowledging that, yes, I am all in on this. And all in doesn't have to mean that you drop everything else in that moment. It just says, hey, I've committed to this and I'm going to start making decisions that support that decision. I'm going to start making moves that get some momentum behind that. I mean, think about it. At some point, you made the decision to do the things that you're doing right now. You were not born with all the opportunities and all the things and all the successes that you have in your hands right now. You've made decisions. You've gotten big ideas. You've gotten wild ideas. You've gotten stretchy ideas that maybe felt uncomfortable, but there was something in you that was like, you know what? It's time. And so I'm going to believe that if you're listening to this episode today, you're feeling that rumble. You're feeling that pull, that stretchiness that's saying, you know what? I think we might be ready for this next level, or I'm at least ready to start entertaining it on a more serious level. I think about this often. I think about a lot of people that say, I just want to live and work by the beach. I want to work a couple of hours and lay on the beach all day long. And to that I say, hell yeah. Like, do that, my friend. And then I immediately back it up with, are you willing to do what it takes to be able to have that? And that's where most people drop off. It's not because they don't want to, but it requires being gutsy. It requires making changes in your life. It requires letting go of stuff that doesn't belong anymore, or that has served its time or its purpose. It's changing your schedule. It's making sacrifices. It's doing stuff that's out of your norm to get the things that you want. Sometimes you have to do the things that are really uncomfortable. And I would say almost every single time. Making gutsy moves is not about being fearless. It's not about having it all figured out, but it's about saying, you know what? I want this bad enough that I'm going to, 1, figure it out. 2, make the decision that this is a real ass thing. And then 3, I'm going to start making small moves that get me closer to that. And so today, I would love for you to play in this space. Okay. In the space of what if. This is not a space to figure out the details. Okay. There is a time and a place for that. And if you want help figuring out those details, Oraline is a perfect place to do that. But for the sake of right now, here in this moment, I just want you to honor what's been bubbling up for you. Like, what is that bold, audacious, wild, batshit crazy, however you want to classify it, scary, new, exciting, exhilarating, give it whatever description you want. But what is that thing that keeps fucking coming up for you? It's that idea that you get so far, right? Like you start really dreaming about it. You start really feeling the sensation in your body. And then you're like, nope, go back. Too much, too big, too scary, too soon. I'm not ready. And then we go back to what we know. I've done this more times than I care to count. Okay. I think that this is a natural part of the human process to kind of stretch. I keep getting this visual of like taffy from the beach. You know how they put it on that big ass stretcher and they're always like, it's just like pulling it and stretching it and pulling it and stretching it until it gets to the point where you can eat it without it ripping out your fucking teeth. Where you're at right now, you're on that Laffy Taffy machine. Okay. It's pulling you, it's stretching you, but eventually we've got to decide, what are we going to do with it? Are we going to continue to stretch it out and get uncomfortable, or are we going to go all in? The moment that speaks the loudest to me right now, to give you an example, is when I was going from the agency to speaking. And I know I've talked about this a lot, but it just has so many different facets that's worth exploring. And I can remember getting glimmers, getting excitement, having it on my vision board that I would be a highly paid speaker with a top podcast and a book. And I would think about it and dream about it and, Pinterest board about it and talk about it with a few select people. And sometimes in between meetings, I'd find myself just kind of like dazing out, like, how you just like stare out into the fucking abyss and your mouth is hanging wide open. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm drooling on my desk. Yeah. That kind of moment, right? Where I'm just like, I can feel it as if it is true. And I've learned to trust that if I can feel it that fucking deeply, it's very possible. It may not always go as planned. It may not follow the timeline that I have. Okay. Let's be honest. But if I can feel something that clearly and that deeply with such a physical reaction, there's gotta be some truth in that it's possible. So I would daydream about being a speaker and an author and a coach and a podcast host and just using my voice to spread, this gutsy movement stuff that we're doing here. And then I would kind of come back to and realize that I'm not in that world at all. I mean, to an extent, right? Like I was already podcasting. I was speaking at some local, chamber events and lunch and learns and things like that, which has been phenomenal for getting started, but I was not getting paid by any means. And I don't know. I was like, I feel like I'm so far away from it that it doesn't feel realistic. Ooh, I know I pinged something there. It feels so far away that it doesn't feel realistic. Let's just sink down into that for a second. While I know that logistically that may be true, I think that there's more evidence than what you're giving yourself permission to even look at. And the only way for it to be true, that it's possible that you can have this, is to make the decisions, to make the moves. I mean, I would bump up against this idea hundreds, if not thousands of times, while then I go back to running the agency, making logos, designing offices, like all that great stuff. But in the background, this was running. I'm like, God, I can just feel this tug. And I just kept noticing how I felt thinking about that next chapter versus how I was starting to feel about that current chapter. And it was a stark contrast. It was a very different experience in my body. One lit me up, one felt heavy. One felt exciting, one felt like I had to. And over time, that scale started to tip and decisions started to be made and things started to happen. And I will tell you, don't be surprised when you claim this thing, how the universe gets involved to sometimes help clear things out. I think sometimes that's part of the issue, maybe, or part of the thing that stops us even from claiming it, because once you claim it, you have to make the moves to do it. And sometimes those moves come from external sources. Something really weird that happens when you claim things, stuff starts to move, and it's not always in the way that we want it or in the time frame that we would like it. Sometimes it moves faster than we feel like we're ready for. And it's wild, right? But I don't want that to deter you, because when you're claiming it, you're putting out the signal that you're ready. And sometimes the universe or external sources or whatever your belief system is gets involved to help you along, to help you make decisions that maybe you would have stuck way too long in. And that's what happened with me. I mean, I made the decision that I didn't want the agency anymore, and things were just falling off left and right. Things were clearing all over the place. But as scary as that was, the excitement that I had for creating a whole brand new next chapter, it just gave me so much drive, so much hope. I mean, I was just locked into saying, you know what, I'm doing this, and I'm a little bit terrified, but also it feels completely right. You've been in those situations, right? Where you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but it's exciting and I want to do it. So then you start making another move and you make another decision and you start to build momentum. And before you know it, you're in it and it's happening. And eventually it gets to be yours. That once wild, audacious goal that's been running in the background becomes your regular life. It becomes your business. It becomes the pivot that you've been thinking about for so long. I mean, I'm literally sitting in that right now. Is my book on the shelves yet? No, but it's in writing. I'm in the process of putting it on paper. Am I getting paid to speak? Yes. Am I coaching full-time? Yes. Am I running my podcast full-time? Yes. So even the big audacious goal still needs time. It still needs its runway to pull all the pieces together, but I'm now in the opportunity to make that happen. And all because I listened to that fucking rumble. So what is that thing for you? What keeps coming up in your world? What is the change that you want to make? The pivot that you want to have? The growth that you want to have in your business? The new thing that you want to develop? The place that you want to go? What is that thing that feels like it's so far in the distance, but actually it's probably a lot closer than you've given yourself permission to accept? This is probably the thought or idea that you have a secret Pinterest board for. I know how you work. Okay, don't act surprised. And if it's not on Pinterest, there's a folder on your desktop. And if it's not a folder on your desktop, you've got 4,000 screenshots on your phone, right? Like, what is that thing that you're secretly in the background accumulating ideas and information for? Ooh, there is something right there, because my whole body just lit the whole way fuck up. What is that thing, that secret thing that you've been gathering ideas and information and inspiration for? That's probably the thing. That's the rumble. That's the thing that's like, hey, you've been kind of shallow breathing into this. Are you ready to take a full fucking deep breath? And that deep breath is not burn it all down, change everything, shut it all down, move across the country and start all over tomorrow. Unless you want to, and then have at it. But more often than not, it's going to be, yeah, you know what? I'm ready to commit to this. That's what all this boils down to, is saying, I am ready to commit to this. And that commitment then follows with research and decisions and movement that supports that thing. All we're doing here is saying, I'm ready. You're putting up the signal to the universe and to yourself, most importantly, that says, I'm ready and I'm willing to do something about it. Because you can be ready to do something, but without movement behind it, it stays an idea. It will stay in your Pinterest board or in your screenshots on your phone. Readiness is one thing. Movement that supports that is a whole other thing. So what are you ready for? And what is the single next movement that you're going to make towards it? That's it. That's all you need to focus on right now. Is there going to be a time and a place to dig further into it, to figure out more of a plan, to pull pieces together? Absolutely. Okay? We're talking about life and business here. Things need a plan. But for right now, it's really just admitting to yourself that it's time. Trust that rumble that's happening inside of you. Because the louder it gets, the more prominent it is, the more you're feeling it and noticing it, the more uncomfortable you start getting in your day-to-day. Friend, it's because you are backing up into a corner that's saying it's time to decide. And we also know how the freaking universe works. When it's really time and you've ignored the signs and the symptoms and the cues and the nudges and the opportunities and the little moments, eventually it's going to get your attention. It's going to put you in a situation where you have to make a decision, where you have to take a move. And that's not fun. Ask me how I know. It's not a great time. You're in the driver's seat right now. Okay, let me remind you of that. You are way more in control than what your brain is trying to convince you that you are. And so let's give it the opportunity to do what it does best. Go for it. Make a decision. Find the evidence. Give yourself permission to go for it. So the only two pieces of homework that you have right now, today, things to journal on, think on, or just move on, is to 1, make a decision. Are you going to be all in? Or are you going to dabble? Are we going to do this thing? Or are we going to keep ignoring it? And then once you claim it, once you make a decision, once you say, okay, I am willing and ready to put effort behind this, what is the one next move that's going to back that up? A phone call you need to make, an email you need to send, something that you need to look at or research or find the information for, something you need to register. It gets to be small and simple, okay? The only way to get to that bigger idea is to start with the small stuff that makes it happen. And I'll tell you what, if you want a little extra nudge with this, a little extra support, you want to be in a room with some women that are making moves of their own, just to be in that synergy. Guess what? The next Gutsy Moves Challenge happens in September. So September 21st through the 25th of 2026, I'm running the next Gutsy Moves Challenge. It's an hour a day for 5 days where we are going to make the moves that you can't stop thinking about but keep putting off. We're going to identify what's been the hang up, what's been holding you up, what are you ready to really claim, breaking it down into a simplified plan. What is that next move? And guess what? We're going to make that move together. There's something about the electricity and the synergy in a room of women that are all saying yes to themselves and making the bold moves together. And did I mention this is $49? Get your butt in here. I just opened registration. It's lauraora.com/move. You can reserve your spot. And not only are we going to do our live calls together, but I'm going to be in the chat with you all week long, answering your questions and helping you over the humps. So if you really needed an extra push today, this is it. Make your next gutsy move to sign up for this challenge so we can do this shit together. It's time, my friend. This goal is rumbling because you are ready. And if you'll have me, it would be an honor to support you through it. If we're not already connected or you have some questions around the challenge, come shoot me a DM. I'm on all the platforms using @thatlauraora. And as always, until I see you next time, stay gutsy.